So I was on YouTube, and of course you guys know about my YouTube channel. You're probably watching this on YouTube if you're not watching this live. And I saw a video that a guy posted. The guy definitely seems to know what he's talking about. He's a fitness personality. And he would the video description was talking about killing fat, how to kill maybe belly fat or something like that. And so I felt the need to get on here and talk about that here because, you know, fat loss is one of the main goals that people have. It's like probably the top goal that people have when it comes to health and fitness. They want to lose belly fat. They want to lose overall fat. Maybe they're having a hard time doing it. It doesn't seem to be budging and all this kind of stuff. But what tends to happen is that there is an antagonism of fat. Now I understand it. I get it, especially when you want to lose fat, you want to regain like your former size, shape, fit into some old clothes. You're really, really wanting that, and the fat seems like it is just being persistent. It doesn't want to leave. And so that's where that antagonism, like that very strong dislike for body fat comes from. But fat is not something to be antagonized. Now, I'm gonna not necessarily talk a whole lot in depth about this because I recorded a video and hopefully I remember to link to it. But the thing to understand about fat is that fat has a purpose. Fat is not your enemy. And fat, even as much as we like to personify it, is not some evil, malevolent being that has hijacked your body and doesn't want to let you go. It's not that at all. The thing to understand about fat is that fat has a purpose in your body. And as I said in my previous video, previous is in many videos ago when I talked about this in depth. If you understand, if you can understand the purpose of fat, it may actually help you to lose it. Okay. So fat, so let me put it like this. So it's a few purposes that fat serves. Like it's like it cushions your organs. It can kind of help protect you from falls. It kind of insulates your body to some degree. But the main purpose of fat is energy storage. A secondary purpose of fat is it's an endocrine organ. Like it actually secretes hormones. It has a very big impact on your hormones, by the way, and even to some degree on your immune system. But as far as I know, the main purpose of fat is energy storage. Okay. And so what that means is just like you getting it's just like you getting a bank account, a savings account, and you make money and then you use some of it, but then you put some of it in the savings account for like another time that you need it, so you don't just spend it all. And so that's kind of like what fat ser fat serves as. You have these fat cells, you're born with fat cells, and literally your body will use those fat cells to store um excess energy into. Typically, especially when it comes to like carbs but even other macronutrients as well. You consume and then you have more than you need, and so your body converts those into it converts into glucose, and then that glucose gets stored in your fat cells. If it's not stored in your muscles, it's glycogen. If it's in your muscles, it's for more quick use. If it's in your fat cells, it's there when until you need it. And again, as much as we like to antagonize fat, the thing about fat is you you gain it when you have more energy than you need. It's not a bad thing necessarily to gain fat. It becomes more negative when you have excess amounts of fat. Because for one, since fat is a hormonal kind of organ, it can really kind of mess up your hormones. It can increase your inflammation, in particular around like your abdominal organs. Um, and it can also the extra weight can over time be hard on your joints. And so excess fat is really where it becomes problematic. But it's not evil. It's not evil. You just have to understand that if you're gaining a lot of weight, if you're gaining a lot of extra fat, then it has to have something to do with what you're eating. That's probably the main thing. And then also a pretty close second, like your activity levels. Because because so these days, the overweight rate is almost three-quarters of the whole population, which is insane. Insane. I think when I first became a personal trainer was first kind of starting to like look into some of these statistics, it may have been about two-thirds of the population, so about 65% or so. And so then over 10 years, it's gone up to almost 75%. And so it's growing. It don't matter how much money we spend on healthcare, it's still growing, And so that means we're doing something wrong. Now, what's the big thing that has changed really since like fat gain. I don't mean fat gain or fat rates. I mean to say obesity and overweight rates have really skyrocketed. It has been processed foods. That's the main thing. It's not to say that people weren't dealing with excess fat before that, but when you have these foods that are hyper processed and they go into your body, they cause you they make it way easier to eat a whole lot of calories, a whole lot of energy than you couple that with sedentary lifestyle. Most of us don't have active jobs. Most of us don't. I mean, I don't. I'm here recording the video and even with my other business, it's math tutoring. And so you don't have to be active for that. But these are not active jobs. You couple that with very highly processed foods, as they call them, ultra processed foods. And what you get is just a perfect recipe for excessive fat gain. Now, when you're trying to lose fat, again, especially when it seems stubborn, it can get very frustrating. That's that's just real. And so on your journey, you're probably going to have to tweak along the way. That's where occasional weighing of yourself, like maybe no more than once a week, but maybe once every week or once every 2 weeks or once a month, that becomes important because your body, even if you have excess weight, when you start to lose it, like well, your body kind of settles where it is. So in a lot of different ways, your body adjusts to accommodate for that weight, even if it's still kind of harmful for you in some ways. But you'll lose weight at first, and then it might kind of level off. And so you'll have to kind of tweak, like you'll still have to kind of tweak your diet a bit, tweak your your other aspects of your lifestyle. But fat is not something to be killed. All it is energy. It's just energy. And you have to give yourself a reason to tap into that excess energy and use it. Okay. Like at one time I recorded a video where I was talking about like bears and hibernation. If you recall anything about not just bears though, but also other animals who hibernate or do something similar. It's called torpor, I think is what it's called. But like they'll eat a whole lot and they'll gain a lot of fat and then essentially they'll sleep on, or they'll hibernate, and they're not eating pretty much the whole time. They fast that whole time, but their body subsists off of this energy. It subsists off of that stored energy. Now, we don't hibernate and whatnot, but the point that I want to make is their bodies subsist off of that through this fast that they have to go through when they hibernate. And I'm not saying that we need to just kind of fast to kind of like burn all the fat off. However, I do believe that fasting in and of itself can be somewhat of a tool, somewhat directly through the fat loss that comes from not eating. If you have a food eating disorder, then you probably don't want to do that unless you have a professional to kind of help you. But the main way I believe that fasting tends to help is that it helps you to eliminate cravings for bad food, and that's very important. But also just the fact of kind of stepping away from that food for a while, even if it's just intermittent fasting, that allows you to kind of tap into those stores, and it even also helps you to enter into what it calls like a autophagic state, like where your body gets rid of diseased, um, malfunctioning cell parts and whatnot, and that's supposed to help with loose skin and different things like that as well. So anyway, I won't get into all that. The main point I want to make is try not to antagonize fat too much. You don't have to kill it. You don't want to kill it. You don't want to fry it. You don't really want to do anything like that. You just want to give your body a reason to tap into that fat storage, convert some of those what's it called, lipolysis, kind of like take some of that and break it into fatty acids, which is like I think the form that your body can use it in to actually burn in your cells for energy creation. I mean, for energy usage is what I'm saying. But I believe that sometimes if we say, man, I gotta kill this fat, I gotta, whatever, all these very negative things about fat, we kind of see it as an enemy rather than seeing it for what it actually is. Just use more energy. Use more energy and then don't take in as much. There's other lifestyle stuff to pay attention to as well. I must note, like sleeping, um, and just taking care of your body overall. Because a body that functions well overall is going to use fat the way it needs to, and it's not going to necessarily, it's just going to be one less encouragement to your body to hold on to fat or to gain fat, if that makes sense. So anyway, I'm curious to know what you guys think about this, about killing fat and whatnot. Um, you don't have to kill it, y'all. You don't have to kill it. If you're 35 to 50 years old and wanting to lose weight, get stronger, and become more athletic, but you keep finding yourself hitting roadblocks like aches and pains, stuck at the same weight, lack of motivation, even wondering if your fitness goal is impossible to reach, I got something for you. My exclusive fitness support consists of my daily fitness mindset mornings every weekday morning, where I teach you the mindset that fit people use to achieve high levels of health and fitness, and where you can ask me your specific health and fitness questions so that you can finally get unstuck. You also get access to my video workout library, as well as my fat loss workbook, fitness journal, and other helpful fitness related downloads we have available on our Patreon. If that sounds good to you and you're ready to change your mind so that you can finally change your body, your health, and your life, join us now at patreon.com/Shawn B2B Fitness.